Hey everyone, hope you are all doing well. Let me first say thank you for taking the time to support your troops and continuing to build readiness in these uncertain times. Readiness never stops, and we are now in an evolution of how we train and develop our people. Our members are spread across the globe doing fantastic things and putting the mission first, but if we do not record these efforts effectively, then they could be missing out on promotion or other opportunities. I will spend a few minutes showing slides to assist in writing effective bullet statements. These slides are to complement the decoration writing course slides that were sent out earlier. Okay, let's get started. So first we need to get organized. I recommend having a folder for each individual, and within that folder keep notes on some of the things that they've done. Also ask the member what they have done, and however many notes they give you, just keep everything in that folder. You might not need everything at the moment, but it's always good to have extra stuff to refer back to, and you might use some of that at a later date. Also know the format that you're writing, if you're writing an EPR, OPR, or an award. Some bullet statements can actually provide multiple impact statements. So be sure to keep that in mind as you go forward. And lastly, have a copy of the tongue and quill and a thesaurus at your desk. They both come in very handy when writing the EPRs, OPRs, or any. So let's talk a little bit about their actions and their accomplishments. So what did they do? Be kind of specific here with a action verb. Were they resourceful? Did they initiate something, coordinate something? Did they mentor somebody? And if you can, stratify. Were they the number one pilot, the number one boom? Were they the number one AFE person, airfield management, whatever it was? If you can stratify them, that's always good. How many combat sorties or sorties did they fly? It's another good action to put in there. How did they do it? That's kind of self-explanatory. And what was the result? The results are always best described in some kind of numerical value, whether dollar amount or increase in percentage of mission completion. When using those action verbs, they can be found in the tongue and quill, or you can use your thesaurus. Words like initiated and resolved are strong words, and there's a couple pages of a list for these action verbs in your tongue and quill. The tongue and quill also provides some adverbs for these accomplishments. So maybe instead of saying resolved, you could say promptly resolved. Sometimes those verbs need a little bit of help, or you actually need to fill the space. I'm going to use a 1206 as an example, or on the EPR, but on the 1206, if you have a little bit of extra space, maybe you need to add some of these adverbs to help you fill the line. Going to take just a minute on this slide to give you enough time to read the scenario, and then we'll move on to the next slide. Okay, let's take a look at this paragraph. So the individual stated that the tower lost all the radar information on the aircraft, and they were in a combat zone, they were at night. Pretty scary scenario. So the individual could have been under pressure, probably was under pressure, and he had to somehow get a hold of the tower. So using his resources, he pulled up light gun signals in his pubs, and he was able to get the aircraft to land. So we could say he was resourceful as his action. Maybe he excelled under pressure. And some of the things that he did, he used his resources, he used his publications to pull up the light gun signals to assist the aircrew in landing the aircraft. So when we put this together as a bullet, depending on the space between the lines on the 1206, we're going to first say he was resourceful. And how did he do this? He utilized light gun signals for control tower communication to land a blind aircraft. And what was the result? Again, we're going to put this in a monetary or some kind of numerical value. He safeguarded a $50 million aircraft and along with 3 aircrew members. So we can utilize this safeguarded $50 million aircraft for many bullets because it is a dollar amount on our aircraft, and usually we have about 3 aircrew members, maybe passengers. So take all that in consideration when you're writing. In this slide, you can see we took the sentence that we came up with from the previous slide and put it into the 1206. And notice the spacing from line to line. And here you can adjust any of those abbreviations and capitalizations. Just be sure to be consistent throughout your award package with abbreviations. Some of the bullet statements you might receive from one of your members might be as simple as Flu 35 combat air refueling missions. Now you might think, okay, I need to put that into some kind of bullet form. And so I'm going to reach out and phone a friend here, either the HARM office, the UDM, maybe POL Fuels to get fuel offload, or Job Control, the MOC, any of our resources within the wing to just kind of gather some data and get some numbers together. And once you have these numbers, I would keep them. Again, all this information, don't throw it away, just keep it in the folder. And at some point, you may come back and require that information, if not for this individual, maybe for another individual. And that way, you just have it with you all the time. So, in this case, for the action, we're going to stratify, or at least take a look to see if we can stratify. How did the peers do compared to this individual? Were they better? Did they fly more? Did they fly 40 combat air refueling missions? Did they fly 100? Did they only fly 1 or 10? However it was, see if we can stratify. And then maybe we can put this into hours as well. If we do hours, can we add maybe training missions in there? How much better was this person than the peers? Can we put that to a percentage? And what did it do? What was the result? Well, we are, the best tanker unit ever. So you can put that in there. Now, this is one particular statement, the Flu 35 combat air refueling missions, that could have multiple impact statements come from this. So we know that he was in combat missions, so he was probably mobilized. And then you can say how many days that person was mobilized, and how many air refueling missions, and how many locations. And again, here's where the offload of fuel would come in handy. And what theater was he supporting? If you take a look at this slide, you'll notice that the first scenario that we completed is now number 3 on the list. Resourceful has been moved down on the list. Always try to keep your stratifying and your numbers, or whatever is more important, keep that to the top. So as you're writing your 1206 and your bullet statements are being added to this, keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and take a look at one more member statement. So after an RPA crashed on the airfield, they diverted. They used their prior crew chief skill set to service the engine, and they noticed the main landing gear tires were flat from running over shrapnel on the runway. So they coordinated and prevented potential catastrophic damage. So let's break that down a little bit. What was the action that this individual did? Well, they fixed a maintenance issue. And how did they do that? They used their crew chief knowledge, their crew chief subject matter expertise. They coordinated a recovery team. They had the aircraft repaired. And what was the result? They averted an IFE incident. So breaking that down into a bullet form, we could say they resolved a maintenance issue. They utilized their crew chief subject matter expertise. They identified damage. They coordinated a recovery team. A $50 million aircraft was repaired, and they averted an IFE incident. And putting that between the lines on the 1206, that fit nicely. Now we did abbreviate maintenance, we abbreviated issue, utilized, we took the D out, crew chief was capitalized. Maybe if it didn't fit in there, we'd need to use a lowercase crew chief or uppercase crew chief. But adjust accordingly so it fits within the space. But whatever abbreviations you use, try to remain consistent throughout your award package. On this particular 1206, we decided to move that bullet statement to the third position because we felt it was slightly more important than resourceful. It's really up to you on where you want to put these and how you feel the order of importance is. This slide goes back to the second slide where I talked about record keeping and keeping a folder on your individuals and the bullets that you write for them or the bullets that they give you. So here in the first example, under the Metcalf Trophy, almost everybody in the wing can use this particular bullet statement and in some way modify it to where it fits how they helped the wing receive this trophy. What did they do? This person was a key member of Intel, so maybe they were in the HARM office or airfield office or training or wherever they were. How, CE or maintenance, how did they contribute to the wing receiving this award? And for the rest of the bullets, if you keep them, you can always repurpose them for other individuals. This slide might seem familiar to you. This is a slide from the decoration writing course, and I incorporated it here just to point out that maybe you are given only the bullets and you have to write an award for an individual. So we're kind of going backwards on this one, where you have the bullets and now you need to expand on those bullets. So as you can see, the paragraph is written with the bullets below. This is just to give you an example kind of working in a different direction. But either case, I would always save them and keep them in the folders with the individual so you can refer back to it at a later time for either that individual or someone else. While leadership and job performance is important, the whole airman concept is also important, and we need to have bullets to write about for the individuals, in this case on the award on the 1206. So the statement here, this person really just helped somebody else and trained them. So what did they do? They helped, they mentored, they taught, instructed. We're going to use some kind of strong verb here, and we might have to modify that word as we try to fit it within the lines. But for now, maybe we'll just go with mentored. And how did they do this? Well, they taught another person how to load and unload supplies. And what was the result? So how many units were helped? How many rooms were helped? How many people were deployed? Here you're going to have to phone a friend again and maybe call the UDM. When we look at our bullet statement that we can put together, we can say he or she mentored. They instructed airmen on cargo for 3 pallets and 2 bins. They provided dorm amenities for 340 years, enhanced quality of life for 76 members. This slide just has a few more ideas on the whole airman concept. In the first bullet, the individual was a PTL. In the second individual, it just shows some charitable work, and the third shows professional development. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me and I will get you an answer. And I will also keep updating these slides as I receive questions and get answers to those questions. Here are a list of a few of the references for the local writing guidance. Check with your your local wing for approved abbreviations, or maybe the host base has some. In this case, the host base has approved abbreviations that you should use. And also, each year when the award packages come out, there is usually a standard format that they send with it on how they want you to fill out the paperwork. So refer to all of those as you're writing your awards and your EPRs and OPRs. And best of luck to you all, and hope you stay safe and healthy. Thank you.